In the vast plains of Gur lies an army of metal, belching smoke and steam. It stands ready as hundreds of workers check gauges, tighten screws, and ensure that its vast number of components are properly maintained and in good working order. Prepared for any foe that would try to catch this bastion of order unprepared. A relatively short, but some would say ill-advised, distance away from this metallic army stands what once may have been a steam tank. Atop its formerly protective metal covering is erected a wooden platform, barely protected by flimsy metal railings. One strike away from turning into worthless tinder. And working on said platform, without a worry in the world, were two bickering master engineers. Thogod, I'm telling you, Steinbeck's theorem of geometric motion is completely plausible if you take into account that most gears are symmetrical in nature, confidently said one old man, his eyes gazing down the sight of his masterwork-long rifle at the distant horizon. Looking at least in his 90s, his body showed none of the signs of weariness that comes with age. His hands fidgeting with the various knobs on his gun and his feet constantly shifting as if finding it uncomfortable to stand still. Huh, blurted Thograd, working at his writing desk. A dwarf with a long, flowing gray beard tucked twice over in his belt. He further emphasized his disdain with a dismissive snort. Steinbeck was a buffoon, Werner, and you know it. When he wasn't up in his eyeballs in the plants around his home, he simply blurted whatever theories popped into his head. His farce of an idea doesn't work because normal gear use would decrease efficiency to such a degree it would make his theorem invalid. Werner smiled, expecting his old friend's response. This debate has been going on for years, going back and forth about the effects of this rather minor theorem for so long that each knew the other's argument perfectly. Of course, they could have simply designed a test to determine the theorem's validity and end the debate once and for all, but that was a thing that neither of them were inclined to do. They were both too old and too impatient to find something else to argue about. As Werner prepared his usual response, a strange flash of light on the horizon caught his eye. Zooming in with his gun sight, he saw a rather uncomfortable sight. Thograd, old boy, we have a bit of an issue. Eh? The old dwarf said quizzically, his head rising up from his diagrams. Werner moved aside, motioning towards his weapon. Taking the invitation, Thograd walked forward and looked through the gun sight. He instantly regretted it. Rushing towards the metal convoy was a tide of green skin and beaten metal, an Uruk horde screaming and charging towards their position. Thograd sighed heavily, almost as if he was only annoyed by the wave of death headed in their direction. Seems the scouts were wrong about when they would arrive. Can't trust the young to do anything right. Ha! Werner laughed, a broad smile on his face. What else is new? Either way, he continued. Shall we get to it? Aye, confirmed Thograd, walking back to his desk and followed closely by Werner. In a sight that would confuse most laymen and would be the greatest learning opportunity for any engineering student, the two old friends got to work. With barely a word whispered and in an amount of time that some would say was impossible, they mapped trajectories, calculated ammo usage, and estimated shell blast radiuses. Their work done, Werner flashed a sequence of lights at a nearby flying gyrocopter. A coded message that was flashed back to the waiting armored army behind it. Workers ran towards their machines, inputting coordinates and loading ammo, rushing to get everything ready in time. Once all their preparations were complete, they launched their various munitions in a perfectly synchronized storm of death, shells and bullets rising up into the air and eventually crashing down to the Uruks down below. Within a minute, the horde of hundreds of Uruks was reduced to a badly burnt warboss looking around at his former mob in shock. Shock that lasted for about 2 seconds, until Werner placed a bullet in between its eyes. Anyway, as I was saying, Werner said, ejecting the shell from his long rifle, normal gear use can be mitigated with a proper cleansing system. Thograd shook his head and smiled at his friend's response. This promised to be a good and lively debate. Clicking gears and burnished metal, boiling engines and immense explosions. These are the sights you see when you enter the forges and schoolrooms of the Ironweld Arsenal. Composed of engineering geniuses and armies of disciplined workers, they wield a vast array of weaponry and devices to fight the enemies of order across the realms. Leading these armies you will find the gunmasters and cogsmiths, each with decades of experience in the creation of new weapons, both explosive and otherwise. From these master craftsmen come the vast array of artillery used to soften enemies on the battlefield, as well as reinforce the new cities of order being constructed across the formerly chaos-held regions. Hellstorm rocket batteries launch explosives into enemy formations while flying gyrocopters defend the skies. Chugging steam tanks throw themselves at monsters while the bullets of organ guns and the shells of cannons lay waste to charging hordes. To see this army at war is to marvel at the ingenuity of mortals in weapon form. To be a member of the Ironweld Arsenal is to wield an army of mechanical devastation. To lay waste to the enemies of order with explosive shells and deafening cannons. Hey guys, this is Arvandis, and I want to say I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like these short stories / descriptions of various races in Age of Sigmar, please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll keep doing it. Not only Age of Sigmar, perhaps other games that I have interest in. Anyway, thanks for listening, and see you next time.